Are we live? Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody?
Wow,
How are you?
I'm really glad I didn't say what
welcome
to say.
Welcome to
Really
Express.
glad.
Yeah. 15% off sweaters. Buy one, get one on V-neck t-shirts. Juniors tops on sale, too, as well. 50% off. No, in all seriousness, this is a sports show. Blake, what's going on, brother?
Not much. What's happening,
How are you? It's
man?
high school rivalry week. As you can see from the helmets, this one hasn't been popular since 2002 when things like Pogs, Ja Rule, and myself were popular. Blake. You believe that? I could go for some Pogs right now. I would rule you in Pogs, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We're getting the show out there. Hop in. Tell us you're here.
I don't know that I ever had any Pogs.
Oh, you're too young. How old? You're like, how old? 5
I'll
years
be 30
younger?
here in a couple weeks.
Oh, he's a man. He's 30.
I'm a man.
When is
I'm
your
40.
when is your birthday?
November.
Oh, okay. I think you said November.
Yeah. You guys don't get that much information.
Jeez, just hit me up in every year from now on. We're getting a show out there. Hope you guys are doing well. Pop into the chat. Tell us you're here.
Speaking of things that have been chewed up and spit out, look at that mouthpiece. That thing.
Woo. Well, I took more punishment than I delivered back then, let's just say. I actually put the mouthpiece in my mouth earlier, guys. It reminded me of opening a pack of baseball cards as a child. Remember the gum? Oh, just a mix of rubber, cement, and regret.
It's so bad.
It's bad. All right, we're going to be with you guys here in a moment. Just getting the show out there. Retweet, like, please. Do it. Let us know you're here. We're going to be talking Halloween candy. What's the GOAT? Fantasy waiver wire
So
pickups
many
week
choices.
9.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin. Are you ready to go?
Playmakers, what is happening? It is Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, Halloween Eve,
Yes, it is.
if you will. We are going to dress up like a half-witted, smart sports podcast today. Let's do something a little different, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Welcome on in. I am your host, Big Play J. How's everybody doing? Follow me on Twitter at the Big Play J. It is high school rivalry week, as you can tell by the helmets. We're not going to have a game after this
It
because
is like Christmas.
yeah, for
Already.
you at least. Representing the Edison Wildcats this week, Richmond, Ohio, the pride of Jefferson County. Big rivalry game this weekend with Indian Creek. Flood the creek, as we used to say.
Ooh.
Flood that creek, Blake. The gentleman to my left, Stark County's finalist, former Massillon Tiger great, if you will.
I don't know
Stark
about
County
great.
West All-Star, correct?
Yeah, West All-Star.
Man, what a resume. My man, Easy Blake Oven. Big Play Blake. Do you like Easy Blake Oven?
I like the
Thoughts?
last two, last week and this week.
No,
Solid. Solid.
Okay. What do you think so far? What's your favorite?
Probably this one.
Easy Blake
Yeah.
Oven.
The other one, last week's was good, but it's kind of
A little too much, right?
and insinuates something I not all about.
All right. Well, that's all right. We're all about sports facts and satire here, and we've got a great lineup for you tonight. Got it! Exactly. Dave back on the soundboard. Big Play Beats not with us tonight. He is a little ill.
I'll be like Big Play Beats. Hey, guys.
Thank you. It's like nothing's changed. Get well, Mike. Oh, and happy belated anniversary to my wife,
Aw.
Medium Play Katie. 5 years with this guy.
Why? That poor woman.
I know it's not every day you get to be referred to the luckiest lady alive, Blake, but she is it. Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
let's get into the lineup. Of course, on tonight's Fuel, we're going to find out what wonderful Saucy Brew Works beer is fueling our show. Hint, hint, it's a great one. That's no spoiler. It's every
yeah.
week. On Contender Pretender, what we're calling Trick or Treat this week, we're going to talk about some fun things. What team benefited the most before the trade deadline? God, it was boring. What Halloween candy is the GOAT, and much, much more. On our fantasy locks, we're going to give you some folks that are going to have great weeks, and we want to get you prepared for the waiver wire. It's kind of a thin time of the year, if you will. A lot of buys coming up. I want to help you get prepared for your waiver wire, and it's almost playoff time, Blake.
Almost here.
Playoffs.
Make your run now.
Yeah, exactly. Hell no, hell yeah. You know what that is. We've got a lot to talk about there, too, as well, including the NCAA's new ruling that will allow athletes to benefit from their likeness financially. Exactly. Welcome to 2019, NCAA. Thanks for playing. And then what's on deck? We got to talk about a rather not so great week.
No,
NCAA. Kind of a big marquee game out there. And then in the NFL, not exactly the best lineup ever.
Good weekend to go watch your favorite high school football team.
Yeah, it's a good weekend to go see some high school full-up. Watch the Leprechaun trilogy, if you will. It's on Sci-Fi. So
you really built up that week.
Right.
Really amped up the crowd here, guys. Good
you
work.
Want to stay tuned for that section. Anyways, before we get into any of that, let's find out what is fueling this week's show.
Today's secret ingredient is scallop, mushroom, pizza dough, hamburger. Today's secret ingredient is
gentlemen, you know who it's from. It's from Saucy Brew Works. Check them out on Twitter at Saucy Brew Works. This is Habituale. This is a Coach-style ale. Has a wonderful-looking character on the front.
You know what it looks like?
Bear Man Pig.
That, and did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
Yes.
Doesn't it look like Opie a little bit?
It does look like Opie.
Looks like
that
Opie.
Is a great reference and a great show. I missed that. This is a very smooth Kolsch beer. So we were discussing it earlier. This is a lot lighter, it feels, than your average Kolsch, which we like.
Yeah.
A little citrusy flavor to it as well.
I think Dave
nice
was on something earlier, too. He said it was like an IPA without all the hops.
There you go.
That was a very good assessment.
Which is the best type of IPA.
I heard they took the hops out of it, Dave.
The hops.
All right, let's do a good scale this week, Blake.
By the way, did you see the guy who got, I don't know if he got arrested or what, but he had the McLovin driver's license in his wallet?
Yes.
Wow. He should have went with Mohammed. He must not read any books. Blake, on a scale from, let's do fans this week. On a scale from Bucknut to the Flashing fans, what are you going to give this one?
The Flashing fans from the World Series?
Yes. Yeah, not from the Massillon game. Spoiler.
Oh God. Man, it's really good. It's up there. Let's go with maybe like a pumpkin head.
Wow. Okay. That's questionable.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm gonna go.
It's like a 2.
That was
Yeah,
you didn't
right.
catch the sarcasm.
What
It's
the
more
Buckeye
like a
Cowboy guy
No,
didn't
this
want
is
any
more.
of that?
This is more like a Marlins man.
Wow.
More like a Marlins.
Boy,
What?
I keep messing with it. I'm just gonna keep going. So
Maybe it's one girl from the World Series.
Oh, here we go. I
Maybe
know who
1
it
and a
is.
half.
There you go. It's
3.
It's Jack Nicholson, the best.
Oh.
It's Spike
Spike
Lee.
Lee. I was just
a wonderful. Anyway, go check out Saucy Brew Works. Go to the brew pub in Cleveland.
say Usher.
Usher, right.
Court side of the Cavs.
Yeah, that lasted long. Go check out them at their Cleveland Brew Pub. One coming soon here to Columbus too as well. Pick up a 6-pack. Check out Habituale. We got to be habitual drinkers. That's all I know, Blake. Moving on. Hit me with a transition, David. Old school. I like that.
Yeah. Throwback.
All right, we're going to switch things up. Normally, we play Contender Pretender here, where we decide if someone is real, fake, on the uptrend, or the downtick. This week, a little trick or treat. As you can see, Michael Myers moving it up there in the top right-hand corner. Blake, I'm going to start with you, my friend. Are you ready? Let's talk a little NFL. Let's talk trade deadline.
Okay.
Overall, pretty quiet, by
Boring.
the way.
Yeah,
good thing we
very
didn't hold our
uneventful.
breath. We'd be passed out. Blake, trick or treat, the Patriots benefited the most from the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think the moves they made, acquiring Mohamed Sanu and then getting rid of Michael Bennett, I think they were very typical Patriots moves.
So you'd say treat.
Yeah, treat.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, treat. But yeah, typical Patriots style moves. Under the radar moves that are going to result in positive dividends.
Right.
No matter what way you look at it. So, when you get Sanu, you're giving an added weapon to Brady. You kind of remove, I don't want to call him a cancer, but you remove a guy that's kind of a distraction to Michael Bennett.
Sure.
And the defense has played well without him. So it's not like you were necessarily losing a key cog in that machine. So, yeah, definitely treat. I think they won the deadline if there was somebody to win it. I mean,
Yeah, really. It was interesting. So Sanu only had 2 catches.
yeah.
You could tell they were kind of working him in. He had 2 catches, 11.5 yards.
Yep.
But, he opened things up. You could tell that there
Yeah.
seemed to be more lanes. Edelman had a great game, and he hasn't in some time 8
Right.
catches. So there you go. Maybe there's something to it. All right, let's talk NCAA football fashion here, Blake. And let's kind of do rapid fire trick or treat if these teams are going to appear in the playoff, okay?
Okay.
So we saw some teams, some big upsets last week. Texas went down, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. Let's talk playoff Final Four here. Alabama trick or treat.
Treat, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
no
huh?
doubt.
Okay. We're going to find out here in 2 weeks, by the way.
It's going to get interesting, and we'll get
Yeah.
into it after we go through the
Yeah.
list, but it's going to get interesting here in the next 3-4 weeks.
Okay. LSU.
Trick.
Whoa.
Trick.
Please explain.
If they lose to Alabama,
Okay.
and then Alabama goes on to beat Georgia or whoever represents the East,
Yeah.
I just don't see. I don't know. I just don't see
Okay,
it.
do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
Something's gonna keep these guys
I
out.
don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.
It's gonna. Here's the only way I see it being treated is if it's like a very close loss to Alabama.
Okay.
Here's the ultimate chaos scenario.
Yeah.
They lose to Alabama, and then Alabama loses in the SEC championship. game.
Exactly.
That's the
So
ultimate
what
chaos.
do you
I
do
want that
then?
to happen. I love chaos in
do you
the
do?
college football playoff.
So hypothetically, let's say LSU loses to Alabama in a tight one. The Alabama, the SEC title game, Alabama blows whoever else out
Possibly.
from the West or the East rather.
let me rephrase. I don't think it's a done deal. They're not getting in, but the committee does something every year that makes us go,
Right.
and I think this could be it.
Okay.
That's more of it. It's not necessarily them because I think they're worthy of being. They're a top 4 team, no
Okay.
question asked.
So if we're talking trick or treat, it's kind of like if we're talking candy, it's like a bit of honey. It's not the
Yeah.
best one.
Yeah, I'm not
but
gonna
you're
throw
still
it
gonna
away,
eat
but
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be like
alright.
the last thing I eat.
Right. You're gonna give it to your grandma. Anyways, Ohio State trick or treat in the playoffs.
Treat.
Yeah, I agree. No,
Yeah.
no questions
Yeah.
here.
And I think they will. They'll win out, represent the Big Ten, and then, be in the conversation to possibly be the 2 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, it just depends on how good Clemson looks the rest of the way.
Well, the great segue. Clemson trick or treat in the playoffs.
Treat. I
Yeah.
mean, they kind of like Ohio State. As long as they continue doing what they do and win the ACC, there shouldn't be any question. Now, the only thing that would present an issue is if they would somehow lose the ACC championship game, but God knows that's not going to happen. The ACC's down.
Yeah, it has the feeling of they're going to get to the playoff and we're not even going to know who they are.
Yeah, it's
'Cause they're
kind of like
gonna
an
be that untested.
inevitability thing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they haven't looked. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had his first great game last week.
Yeah.
You could argue.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's, we're week 9. So here we go.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. Halloween. Let's talk Halloween movies, Blake.
Okay.
By the way, I love horror movies. I know you're not.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror
as
movie
much.
guy.
Halloween franchise. Is it the best horror movie franchise ever? Trick or treat.
Again, I'm probably the wrong person to ask this. I'm probably better suited for the candy question. So, yeah, I would think so. I mean, it
Okay.
kind of represents everything that is the holiday. You
Yes.
know, it kind of embodies that whole deal. I mean, the movie's literally called Halloween, so it's like
That's a good
and it has Jamie Lee Curtis, which automatically gives it a bump in my
Right.
eyes.
And one version had Busta Rhymes.
Yeah,
in it,
Busta Rhymes.
So no big deal. Yeah. Great franchise.
Trick or treat, mother.
Yeah, great. I forgot about that, but you're right.
That was so good.
I am so disappointed Mike is not here for this question. Trick or treat, adults over the age 25 dressing up for Halloween.
Absolutely. To go trick or treating or to go to a
Yes.
party?
Not for parties. Everyone does
Yeah.
parties.
Oh, to go trick. Stop
Yeah,
it.
come
Stop
on.
it. You look ridiculous. We were actually handing out candy the other night.
Right.
And two individuals walked up, and I won't say what they were wearing, but it was basically no costume, just a mask on, street clothes, and they looked old enough to file for Social Security.
Oh God,
it was insane. And asked for candy and said trick or treat and held open a bag.
Your head.
I feel like 25 is way too old.
Yeah,
I feel like you could go like 18.
Oh yeah.
If you have a kid and it's like some sort of like matching thing, then it's one thing. But if your kid's Han Solo and you're Buzz Lightyear, like, no, stop it. Like, what are you doing?
Pretty good group there though.
Yeah,
they
it's
could
two
lead. They
solid
could lead you in the
characters,
batter.
but-
Someone at work the other day asked me what I was dressing up for, and I said, what I'm dressing up for? A dad who's going to be regretful the next day because I'm going to eat 75% of my kids' candy to prevent tooth decay and eventual sickness. That's basically what I'm
quality
gonna be dressing
deterrent.
up. Yeah. Anyways, Blake, what do you got, my man?
So we'll go to the NFL for you, Jay.
Yeah.
We'll start out west. Nick Bosa of the San Francisco 49ers looked pretty impressive.
You sure did.
Defensive player of the year thus far, trick or treat.
I'm going to say treat.
Oh my gosh.
And he had, you look for like the marquee play, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
highlight reel.
Yeah.
And last week when he got cut and then just popped up and had an interception and ran it, that's his play. But he's got 7 sacks. He's got an interception, the one he ran back.
Right.
He's got 13 QB hits already, 12 tackles for a loss, which are tied.
Yeah.
It's him or Myles Garrett. I think both are disruptors.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have to factor him in a lot of double teams, but they're guys that are just going to disrupt every play, it feels like.
Yeah.
This guy's unbelievable. He's a rookie.
Have you ever seen a more athletic play by I'll call him pass rusher, but have you ever seen a more athletic play?
No.
Not one in recent
No.
memory, anyways.
No, I really can't think of
It was
one
impressive.
off the top of my head. Clowney had some plays, when he was healthy.
Best player in the family?
Oof, wow. It's early, but I mean, it looks like it.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
If at least if you're comparing to this point in careers, definitely.
Well, no, draft night, that mom looked like she could light some people up, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She could kick my ass. Anyways, go ahead, Blake.
All right, we'll roll into the NCAA. So another guy, another pass rusher that's looked like a monster, Chase Young, Heisman finalist, trick or treat.
Absolute treat, I think.
Okay.
Finalist. Let's say finalist.
Yeah, finalist.
And no one's been a finalist since what? Manti Te'o. His girlfriend didn't show up, unfortunately. And someone was 2 years ago, and my mind escapes. But
Got him!
Voters have a thing about voting for a defensive player as a Heisman. It's just it hasn't happened since 1998.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these voters just don't vote for him because it's kind of like, and not to get political, voting for like a third party because they're not gonna win, but
Right.
You want to do the right thing. So
Would you say that he's the best candidate since '98 on the defensive side?
yeah,
Okay.
I agree. So, yeah, absolutely.
that's fair.
Absolutely. There have been some great ones, but that kid's unbelievable.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's switch it up. Let's change gears here just a little bit. I got one for you.
Let's do it.
So Tiger Woods, after his win in Zozo over the weekend, Zozo,
You love saying Zozo.
love it. Is Tiger back? Trick or treat?
Oh, this is a trick.
Okay, come on.
Absolute trick. And not because he didn't do well, but so he ties Sam Steed now. He's got 82 wins.
Right.
Okay. But and he might get into the President's Cup. I don't know if they'll pick him as a captain's pick. There's a lot of speculation. He was, last year. He here's what happens with Tiger, right? Every quarter he shows up. All right. Last year, for example, he had 4 top 10 finishes. So every 3 months, he was, and he had his one win the Masters.
Right.
He reminds me of that cool uncle that shows up for the holidays, maybe for your birthday, then during the summer and the fall once. We'll call him Uncle Steve, for example. Uncle Steve's a great guy. He's really cool. There's a lot of mystique to him. He shows up. He's cool. He brings you $10 and gives you a firm handshake and tells you a fart joke, and then he's gone for the most of the year.
I don't know. Part of me agree. Well, a lot of me agrees, but part of me wants to hope he's back.
Yeah, we all do.
Tiger-
It's better for golf.
Yeah,
Blake.
yeah.
I mean,
It's golf is. I mean, already as unwatchable as it can be. I mean, you hope for the sport's sake he's back. You'd like to see him rattle off 2-3 more big major wins, and then be done.
Right.
And you hate seeing guys like that go out without a bang, I guess.
Exactly. Right now, you could argue there's more talent than there's ever been on the tour.
100%.
But controversy creates cash. Tiger was a controversial character.
Yep.
And he's not around. He's not as relevant as he used to be.
Right.
So.
All right. I kind of foreshadowed it earlier.
Yes.
And this is going to determine a lot of what I think about you as a person.
Wow.
This answer.
Okay.
Candy corn, goat Halloween candy, trick or treat.
Oh, hell no. This is
Thank you.
a treat if there ever was. I'd argue it's the worst. What?
The absolute worst.
It's right up there for like circus
It's
peanuts.
literally flavored candle wax. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The worst
or
thing ever.
the wax teeth. Remember that was back in the day? Or like your grandma gives you 50 cents. Just buy some candy tomorrow.
Did you ever have braces?
No.
Okay, so for those of you that have had braces out there, the wax that they give you to put like on the sharp ends,
Oh, yeah.
that's the consistency of candy corn.
I'd rather have
slightly more
wooden
rigid.
teeth.
Slightly.
Oh, but anyways, I think Reese peanut butter cups are the absolute goat. And let me give you some figures.
Can't go wrong.
Let's go all corporate on you right here. Reese's is the largest confection brand in America, 62% larger than the next, Blake. Did you know that?
I did not.
They're 47% of their sales are seasonal, as you can imagine. That's 10% more than the next largest company. You think about what Reese's has. Christmas, you got the tree, right? Halloween, you got the cup, you got the pumpkin, right? Easter, you got the bunny and the egg. Valentine's Day, you got that heart.
What are your thoughts
Reese's.
on white chocolate Reese's?
Love it.
Even better than the original?
White chocolate Twix
Oh, yeah.
are going to be the death of me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, good times. You know what we need to get on there? A new sound of his. Hey, 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 hey. If you heard that one when he was getting people for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Hey, 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 hey. Anyways, let's talk fantasy football. Dave, give me a transition. I love Big Play Beats Senior in the chat room, despite the fact his son isn't here. He showed up to the game. What a good guy. He says Notre Dame is a pretender now. Yeah, we found that out. Anyways, let's talk fantasy football here, guys. In this segment, we always give you some waiver wire picks, some sleepers, and then talk about some recent issues in fantasy football, maybe some interesting things that came up in our leagues that week. My waiver wire pickup, and I'm surprised this guy is still out there, but he is in a lot of leagues. Dallas Goedert. He is the tight end of the Philadelphia Eagles, a guy who's taken a lot of the catches from Zach Ertz.
Sure.
Recent trend. Ertz, of course, had that great year last year where he had 136 receptions. There was a lot of controversy in the locker room, a lot of things that were said behind the scenes. People are kind of pointing the finger to Alshon Jeffrey that maybe they said he was being targeted way too much and they needed to spread the ball.
Sure.
All of a sudden, his receptions go down. Funny how that happens. But they're playing Chicago, who's the 11th worst team against tight ends. They're giving up 13.5 points per game. Goddard is getting, as I said, he's getting a lot of those catches. He's tight end 21 right now, and he was owned by only 19% of Yahoo leagues the last I checked. This guy catches touchdowns. He did last week. So look for him. Pick him up.
Yeah.
Blake, what do you think, brother? Who do you got?
So I don't know that this guy's necessarily a waiver wire pickup, but somebody that I got my eye on this week, Devin Singletary, running back, Buffalo Bills. Somewhat quiet start to the year. If you look over the last couple of weeks, he's been trending a little bit higher than Frank Gore, been taking a little more of the lion's share of the carries. But he's starting to get a lot more involved in the offense. They're playing a somewhat beat-up defensive line in Pittsburgh. You don't have Tuitt.
Right.
You got some guys that are kind of rotating in. Right now they're ranked in the top half of the league against the run, but like I said, a little beat up. I think primed for a big game on the ground.
Also, you got to imagine that they'll run the ball a lot, even more than usual. So that'll be an interesting pick. I had a thought this week, Blake, and Josh Gordon kind of had me thinking about this with him going to IR. Who's your biggest disappointments this year in fantasy football?
Biggest
There are
disappointment.
quite a few. And
Yeah.
if you were to say the tight end position besides Darren Waller, I wouldn't fight you on that one.
No, honestly, no. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's like once Gronk left, everybody. It's like there was nobody left.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Tight ends have been very underwhelming this year.
Yeah.
I think you look at a guy that could have controlled his impact, and that's Melvin Gordon. Big disappointment. Now, a lot of guys that handcuffed Austin Eckler, you look like geniuses now.
Yeah. Or if me traded him.
Or
Anyways.
traded him. But the other guy, Joe Mixon, is another guy that I think of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not had a great start to
No.
to the year. In
Awful team.
2018, he had 243 points and 9 touchdowns. This year, 61 points and 3 receiving touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's bad.
So he's not had a great start to the year.
Yeah. OBJ, too, as well, is another guy that you thought he's going to Cleveland, much better quarterback situation,
Right.
much better surrounding team. 2018, he was wide receiver 15, 230 points. Thus far, 55 points and 1 TD. Ugh,
Yeah, not good.
not good. Zach Ertz, we mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
Last year, he was a monster. He was tight end, too. He had 116 receptions, 8 touchdowns. So far, he's got 37 and 1 TD.
Yeah.
Ugh, bad.
And I think another guy, too, like you think about injuries or things that have kept guys off the field, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
2019, 71.4 points, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean...
Stream seems like it stopped.
Oh.
Just really weird,
Interesting.
right? It shows live on here. It shows all green, but I'm looking on Twitter
Uh-huh.
and it's showing replay that it went 25 minutes, so it went right about now.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I don't know why. Will you check yours?
Yeah. Gotta love that.
Right? It's live on
It's live on Twitter.
Yeah.
Facebook.
I think we're live right now.
Yeah, I think we're
my
live.
man. Anyways. Okay. Well, let's just continue as if.
Heyo.
You
Anyway,
come
sorry.
back. You come back and look what happens.
Yeah, really.
Where's Mike when we need him?
Get off your union break, Mike. Get back here. Let's play another fun game, Blake.
do it.
I thought of this one this week
Okay.
because I thought the Patriots, after 3 possessions against the Cleveland Browns, were going to have a fantasy record for defensive fantasy points, but it didn't end up happening. Let's play a fun game. Would you trade the Patriots defense for X player? Okay.
So I have the Patriots defense?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to throw out a few players to you. Julio Jones.
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Okay.
Not right now, anyways. No Matt Ryan. Offense has been anemic. I mean, had you asked me this question 3 weeks ago, probably.
Yeah.
Well, not even probably, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But right now, no.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes.
No. Stop.
Hey, ceiling is high when he's
No.
going to come
No,
back.
he'll be fine. He'll be back in a couple weeks.
Okay. Nick Chubb.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I have the Patriots
You
defense.
have the
So, yes, I would
Patriots.
absolutely trade him for Mahomes, and I absolutely trade him for Nick Chubb. Yeah. Sorry.
I
was
wondered
flipped
there.
for a
I didn't-
second.
I
I'm
didn't
off
wanna-
my game tonight.
Yeah, that's okay.
But no,
that's okay.
but yeah, I absolutely had traded for both of those guys.
It's tough, though, right? I mean, for the first time, you've played fantasy for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah.
You have to at least pause there for a moment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
think
For the
about
first time that I can remember that you had
Yeah.
a defense that was this good. I mean, the only one I can think of that was even close, and this is probably a homer take, but those 2012 to 2014 Seahawks teams was probably the other one because they were the highest scoring defense.
Yeah.
I don't think ever, but they were top 3.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah.
Chris-
If you look at it in that light, yeah.
Chris Carson.
Depending on who my running backs are, like if I have decent running backs or even formidable running backs,
Right.
no, I don't
You
think I
have to
do
think
it.
of it.
I don't
You
think
have
I
to
do it.
Think about it. But it's an interesting thought for the first time in the history of fantasy football, you might say.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've averaged. You think about what they've done this year, and they're on my squad. They've got 165 fantasy points already.
Yeah.
They're averaging 20.6 per game. What other fantasy players are averaging 20.6 per game? You think
Outside
about
of quarterbacks, nobody.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
McCaffrey.
just and that not a constant number, but his average is
Right.
above 20.
yeah.
He's one of the only people you think of in that category
Yeah.
that's been that good.
Yep.
Rodgers has had certain games, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just kind of flash in the pan, maybe.
How do you feel if you're that guy that took the Patriots like as the 5th defense in your league off the board? You're just grinning from ear to ear.
I did.
Yeah?
I did, yeah. I was one of the last, but I think I took them in the second to last round.
I regrettably passed on them twice.
Ooh, well, I mean, you never know.
You had no idea. If you could have told me you thought the Patriots defense was going to be this good, they were going to be good. They were going to be a top 8 to 10 defense, but to be this good, you had no clue.
Well, you don't look at them. You don't look at one player and say, well, this guy's going to have 10 sacks.
Right.
This guy's going to have 6 picks.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Right. So, anyways, fun game. Think about that one. A little hypothetical. Let's go to our favorite segment. And I know Mike's too, wherever he's listening. Let's go to Hail No Hail. Yeah. Yeah. Halloween time, Dave. This makes me think of a famous local celebrity. Your favorite of mine, Big Bar Mike. Right? This is one of Dave. Dave has a nickname for everyone around here. It's kind of funny. I guess I have a nickname too, technically, as you can see by my Twitter handle. But it took a while, and I was kind of jealous because I'm like, God, I got to get a nickname around here to fit in. But he's not known as Big Bar Mike because he has a large bar which you can drink at. He gives full-size candy bars out.
Oh,
that's the go.
So he's high road than the rest of us.
Yeah, I specifically remember. Shout out to Fred and Becky.
He also has a shirt
that says
Big Bar Mike.
Wow,
that he wears on Halloween.
I like that. I still remember my only neighbor. Shout out to Fred and Becky Jones if you're listening. They used to give out full size candy bars.
Yeah,
I bet they still do. God love them.
Hershey's. I feel like Hershey's was the go-to.
Hershey's was a go-to. Yeah. That was before Costco and Sam's Club, too, man.
You had to buy them individually.
Yeah, that was before Fuel Perks, too, so you're just eating those costs. Shit. Anyways. All right, Blake, are you ready for Hell No Hell? Yeah.
Hit me with it.
The biggest story of the week, you could say, the NCAA met Tuesday to discuss modifying rules that would let college athletes benefit from selling the rights to their names, images, likenesses, and everyone voted yes. Surprise, surprise. Blake, there's going to be 3 separate divisions here that focus on the various sports, which seems logical. Is hell no, hell yeah, is the NCAA finally on the right path of becoming hip to the times here, Blake?
Unequivocally, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Manual one, give me a hell yeah. What? What?
But no, I honestly, this was a giant leap in the right direction. You know, there's going to be more work that needs done, obviously, with this as we progress through kind of uncharted territory, if you will, for the NCAA.
Right.
So, you know, and that's more in like the micro sense, you know, the specific rules and how things are going to be carried out and executed, things like that. But what this does,
Give me a hell yeah.
What? But what this does is it it opens the door for the NCAA to correct itself after nearly a century of this stuff. I mean, honestly, it's been misguided efforts from the beginning, and they've really fought this for the last, what would you say, 20 years, really?
Yeah.
It's you know, I would say turn of the millennium, this started becoming a question just because of how big everything got when you look at the NCAA and football specifically. So, but yeah, unfortunately, it's about 20 years overdue. So
yeah. And so the challenge now is we know it's not going to go until 2020.
Right.
So they've got some time to think about this, although not much time, really.
And the other thing, too, on the flip side of this is it gives more opportunities to retailers and things to get a little more creative with stuff because they had to tread very lightly prior to all this.
Yeah.
So, and it gives companies that do signings and everything else, you know, these kids could have been making money their entire college careers.
Right.
I mean, it's absurd. I mean, I think of a guy that is the #1 recruit in the nation where he goes and signs. He should be able to sign an autograph and make $10. It's just stupid. I mean, but now he'll be able to do that. So
I do feel bad for a lot of these SEC athletes that will have to take a cut in pay, though. So I hope they're okay to absorb that. So the challenge is, Blake, How do you create the same opportunity? So we're looking at Joe Burrow here, who obviously plays in one of the more prolific college football programs in the country.
Sure.
Guy who might win the Heisman, frankly. How do they create the same opportunities for Sarah, who's a cross-country runner, as they do Joe Burrow? And they've made the statement that they at least have to find ways to give all these athletes the same opportunities. Now, realistically, we know that that's not going to happen. But,
Right.
you at least have to give them the looks, if you will.
Well, I think what you need to do is get creative on how you, one, market your players.
Sure.
Because I think the schools are going to have to step in at some point and assist with the marketing of these guys. But I think the other thing is you have to learn what specific niche groups you can market to. Like, you're not going to market a cross-country runner or a tennis player to the same market you would market a football player. So they need to find things. And that stuff, while football and even basketball in the college level will be more of a national reach, there's still plenty of local opportunity for these other players. So I think you have to get creative somehow. But I don't think it's impossible by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be one of those things. It's just one of those things you say it is what it is. I think it's something that if they actually put their mind to it, you can find ways to, like you alluded to, you're not going to make it equal, but you can try to bridge the gap as much as you can.
Absolutely. Is Sue your mom, Blake?
Yes.
She is in the chat room. What is up? Medium Play Sue is in the house.
Medium
Sue
Play
says,
Sue.
"Go Tigers, beat McKinley," with multiple
That's right,
emojis. I
TIG.
love it. Thanks for tuning in, Sue. All right.
So, Jay, I got one for you here.
Let's hear it.
LSU leapfrogged Alabama this week, became the AP #1 team in the country. Jay, hell no, hell yeah. Are the Tigers the most deserving team of that #1 spot right now?
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they are.
Give me a hell yeah. What?
You have to look at the numbers, right? This
Sure.
This has to be a subjective poll here, and because of that, they are #1. I've argued that Ohio State, just visually and conceptually, is the #1 team, and a lot of pundits are now saying that too as well.
Right.
Saturday certainly helped. But it was one of the closest votes in the history of the AP. This was interesting. They got the #1 spot by 2 votes. How would you like to be those two people? I mean, it's probably anonymous, right? But
I would think.
yeah, but those two guys who you go through Alabama, I'll tell you what, man, what are you doing anyway?
Do you think it's just the quality of opponents they've played?
Yes. Yep. So they beat Texas, and it's a neutral site.
Or? Right.
They beat Florida at home. They beat Auburn at home. So by far, they've had the hardest schedule, I'd say, in college football.
Yeah.
And it's not even close if you look at these top 10 teams. 2 weeks, they've got the meeting with Alabama at Tuscaloosa. Whew, that's going to be interesting. Yes, and they're both going to go in this undefeated, you would think. So
Right.
you got 1 and 2 in the West. That's going to be fun. On offense, they're 3rd in yards per game. They're 2nd in passing. Something you never say about an LSU team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're fun to watch. They're 4th in points per game.
Yeah. And I'm happy Joe Burrow found a place to shine as well. I was kind of bitter at first as a Buckeye fan, but now that he's been given an opportunity like he has, and he's crushed it. I mean, he's knocked it out of the park, let's face it.
Right,
I'm just
right.
happy to see that have a happy ending. I'm not a huge fan of transfers, but that's one where I kind of felt it was just.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this.
Yo.
Alabama comes out and blows them out in 2 weeks. We alluded to it earlier in the show. Well, where do you stand? Let's say it's a 42-21.
Okay. At home, right? So
Is that game's in Death Valley?
Yeah. So I think whoever, if a team from the East does play Alabama in the SEC
Plays
title
them tight.
game, and it plays them tight, maybe it's their first loss, they'd probably get in ahead of LSU, but that is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a hard
That's going to be
conversation to
tough.
have.
Because LSU's, there are optics associated with this, and you want to see an
Right.
LSU in that title game. It may be just because you get to hear Ed Ogeron in interviews, right?
Well, and the other thing, you'd likely, if that's the scenario, you'd get an Alabama-LSU rematch.
Yeah, which we love.
Yeah.
We love Georgia-Alabama rematches.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that'll be fun. You know what else is going to be fun? Making excitement out of this weekend's slate of football. Let's go to On Deck. You know, Blake, one of my favorite things in the world, just ask my wife this, is trying to relate two things that have absolutely nothing in common in a comedic way. So here we go. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's talk horror film comparisons here. This weekend of NCAA football reminds me of The Happening. Do you remember this movie?
I do.
Okay. It was the 2008 M. Night Shyamalan movie starring Mark Wahlberg. Okay, burgers, not great, if we're being honest, right, Dave? It was considered one of the biggest horror movie flops ever. Here's a quote from a couple gentlemen in the New Yorker. It's the strangest big-budget thriller to come out in the last 25 years. It may also be the worst. This weekend in NCAA football, we have one game between ranked opponents, and it happens to be number 10 Georgia at number 7 Florida. It's a 3:30 game on CBS.
By the way, The Happening, one of the only movies Mark Wahlberg didn't play like a tough guy from Boston.
Yeah.
And he just didn't know how to do it. And the whole movie, he was like, what is happening? What is going on?
What are you talking about, Dave? I like to play movies. What are you talking about? Mark Wahlberg. That wasn't that good.
Tell your mother
I won't do Mark Wahlberg
Tell your mother
again.
I said hello.
Yeah, right. Go eat a burger with Ted. Anyways, Georgia is coming in.
That Andy Samberg skit's great, though, right?
It is good, yeah. Georgia's coming in colder than the Rotten Tomatoes rating of Leprechaun in the Hood. That was 22%, Blake.
Yikes.
Talking of horror flops.
Yikes.
They lost to South Carolina in OT 20-17 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Last week they won 21-0 over Kentucky, who was 3-3 coming into this game, by the way. They were tied 0-0 at the half. DeAndre Swift finally got 2 TDs, and they kind of pulled it out. Jake Fromm was not that great. He didn't have any turnovers,
Right.
which was an improvement. But he's only 9-12. Florida, they recovered just fine from that loss to LSU, 38-27 against South Carolina, the team that aforementioned just beat up on Georgia. Cal Trask threw for a career-high 4 touchdowns. How does those Georgia Bulldogs win this one, Blake?
First and foremost, got to protect the football. Florida's defense is 3rd in the country in turnovers right now, so you got to protect the football. Georgia also has some banged up receivers as well, so you're going to need some young guys to show up in a big game. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You got to have that next man up mentality, and I think that's going to make the difference in this game. The other thing, and I think this becomes an obvious point, is kicking. Got to be perfect in special teams. They obviously were not against South Carolina.
No.
But when you get in these big games like this, and you get into these close games, and we just saw it with the Bears last week in the NFL, and we've seen it, and you've seen it a million times. You have to play sound special teams in these close games because literally 1 point matters.
Yeah,
every point matters. So, those are my 3 big takeaways: protect the football, need the young receivers to step up, and then obviously got to play great special teams.
Final prediction.
Oh man,
Feel free to say Payne.
You know what? I'm going to take the Gators.
Wow.
I'm going to take the
okay.
Gators. I'm going to take the
Okay.
Gators. It's going to be a close one, though, and I think a low-scoring affair. I think Georgia's offense has been somewhat, well, you just said it. It's been a little slow, even against a team like Kentucky. So I predict like a 17-20, 17-14 game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I do think Florida pulls out a close one here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a classic SEC game that's low scoring. But yeah, I am in agreement there. Let's talk NFL, my friend. Here's a fun one. Did you ever see the movie It Follows? Are you familiar with this?
I'm not.
All right, it was in 2015. It was a low-budget horror film. It became a cult classic, has a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So that makes that certified fresh, David. Here's the premise of this movie. Here's the part where a lot of people are like, holy crap. Essentially, one person gets a sexually transmitted disease that
It does follow.
it follows them, and in order to pass it on, they have to have sex with someone else who then takes on that disease.
Okay.
Yes. But then when they pass it on, they have to run from that person. So it follows these people if you don't pass it on. So if you don't pass it on to someone else, you die. Yeah. Crazy, right? This is a type of week that if you don't perform right, Blake, these losses are going to stick with you because there are a lot of conference wins. I kind of regret doing this comparison, but I feel like it'll be funny in the future. We'll look back on it as a good learning experience. And I'm just glad my mom doesn't know how to watch this show. The game of the week here has got to be New England at Baltimore. This is the 8:20 game on Sunday night. It's in Baltimore at M&T.
Are you ready for some football?
Wow. What are we in a high school game?
We're really pulling out all the stops tonight.
Wow. Patriots are still favored by 3.5.
Yeah.
Over-under on this one's 45. I think that is way too come and bet on me. For me, I'm like, it's not too
it's
low.
a sucker bet.
It's not that high. I wouldn't take it either way. New England is coming in. Of course, they're undefeated. They beat the Browns 27-13. They caused 3 turnovers on the 3 first possessions of the Cleveland Browns. So they got out to that early 17-0 lead and then kind of cruised. I'm sure if you'd asked the Patriots, they'd say it was one of the worst games they've played. Just didn't click that well. But they're out to an 8-0 start for the 3rd time in franchise history, and that defense has already caused 23 turnovers. Baltimore is 5-2. They're leading the AFC North by a pretty big margin at this point. They've won 3 straight. They're coming off a bye week. They're doing it with offense, something I didn't think I'd say at the beginning of this year.
Right.
Their defense only has 12 sacks, Blake, which is 5th worst in the league. Not something that's typical of a Baltimore Ravens team. New England, obviously, they can win any game, but I think how they do it is they've got this suffocating defense, which is weird. It's kind of fun to say that they're going to come in with this great defense, and Baltimore is going to kind of come in with this dynamic playmaker on offense.
Sure.
It's just a different dynamic, so I'm looking forward to that. But Baltimore is averaging 204 yards on the ground, while New England's averaging 85.2 yards on the ground for defense, so they're tough. So if they want to do it, they got to win up front. Jackson has had sub 100 passer ratings in 5 straight games, so he is not on his best streak.
Right.
He's been below 275 yards and a rating of 85 in 4 of those games. But on the ground, he's running for 95 yards per game, which is 7.1 per carry. So you got to win the battle up front.
Sure.
I think they do. New England wins a close one, does not cover, wins by like 3 points.
Yeah. No, I think you're right on par with that. I mean, New England in a close one. If Baltimore has a chance, though, and you just alluded to it, they need Lamar Jackson to do what he does best, and that's improvise. The one thing that great defenses like this typically have a problem with are those great improvisers. You think back to, the Seahawks and when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, these improvisers, the guy that can get out and make things happen with his feet, the guys that can get out, throw the ball on the run, play action. These guys that can kind of go with the flow of the game rather than stick to a rigid game plan are the ones that typically give these defenses a bit of a fit. Now, granted, I think the Patriots defense is good enough to combat that and to basically eliminate that. But if the Ravens can get off to a fast start and establish a ground game, Mark Ingram was almost a sleeper pick for fantasy locks this week.
Okay.
But I just don't see them coming out as slow as the Browns did and allowing for that big gap at first. So if they can create some noise early, they'd have a shot. But I just think that Patriots defense is just way too good.
Final prediction, my friend.
Patriots, I don't know if it'll be as tight as 3. What was the...
It was 3.5.
3.5.
Spread, yeah.
I think they cover.
Okay.
I see this as a 24-17 sort of game. Not overly offensive, but at the same time, like teams will put together a good drive or two and go down the field.
Speaking of cover, why are we sitting so close to each other?
Why
Do
are
you
we?
see that?
We are.
That's so funny. Look at us. We're like, I look like I'm Blake's puppet right now, right? I'm like
There's no beats.
I know.
There's just a huge pod logo.
Right. What do you think a millennial like Mike does when he's sick? He's just sitting on the couch, like with his organic Kleenexes.
Yeah, he's got
watching
some.
Annie
He's got
Hall.
some essential oils.
Essentially, he's got a diffuser.
He's
wafting.
Feel better, Mike.
He's like, I don't take medicine. It's just natural.
Yeah.
Right?
He's taking steam showers. Just sitting in the bathroom with the water on as hot as it'll go.
I got to sweat it out. Let's go to Orange Theory right now. I want to get into the orange zone.
He's just walking around the house with the heat on 75 and trash bags.
Lose a few LBs. Eats. Oh, here he is. Look, he's.
Oh,
chiming
there
in
he
here.
is.
He says eats through it. So classic Mike story.
From what I heard earlier, he shouldn't do that.
2 Christmases ago, okay, everyone in our family, so I'm talking my wife's family, her dad, myself, all of your sisters, Christmas Eve 2017, we all get sick. We're like throwing up. No one can keep anything down. It was like this 24-hour bug. It was awful. It was the first Christmas I lost weight. Yeah.
Wow.
So you can't beat that, I guess. But we're all thrown up. Mike is behind the couch while we're talking about this. He's eating a plate of food. He goes, when I'm sick, I just eat through it. And then he got sick the next day. Anyways.
That is like the worst
it's the
thing
worst
you can
theory.
do.
Literally.
Yeah, right. Anyways. All right.
Jeez.
You know it's not.
He's just sick right now eating Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. I feel like crap, but there's a Nacho Bel Grande.
Right. He's going to get the Uber Eats guy sick. Anyways. All right, Dave, let's transition. Let's head to the courtroom. Let's go with our closing arguments, Blake. All right, Blake, may it please the court, it is time for closing arguments. Counselor, please approach the bench.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm going to keep it a little shorter than last week's rant. But a team that was involved in trade talks with this team. Washington Redskins general manager ownership. Why do you think Trent Williams is worth the first round pick plus more? and I got lambasted on Twitter for this by Redskins fans. The guy's going to be 32 before the beginning of next season. He's had banned substance issues in the past. He's had injury issues. He's clearly had attitude issues, holdouts, getting into fights with Richard Sherman. Linemen are a dime a dozen in the NFL. And I don't mean in a sense like there's just 32 of them walking around that are great left tackles. But what I mean is they seem to be, and I don't and agree, disagree, one of the easier positions to scout in the collegiate ranks.
Yep.
You know, you don't typically see too many high profile offensive line draft picks bust, so to speak.
Right.
So for them to want just an outrageous price for him, I think was just ridiculous. The other thing, that I think of is, you got guys already on the team for the Browns and other teams that were kind of rumored to be in with him that they're not the worst. They're not the
Right.
best, let's face it, but they're not giving up 3 sacks a game, or they're not getting their quarterbacks murdered.
Right.
So I just think it was an overpay for him. The other thing, he's going to want a big contract.
True.
And for a team like the Browns that were heavily rumored to be with him, you got other priorities when it comes to your money right now. So tying up that much money into a 32-year-old tackle with issues, not worth a first-round pick, in my opinion.
Well, that's fair, counselor. Very good arguments.
The defense rests.
The defense rests. Well, may I approach the bench?
You may.
Bench here, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I'm here in defense of college football blue bloods, in particular those that actually go to class. Over the weekend, we saw the Michigan Wolverines pounce the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Didn't see this coming. 45-14 in what you could argue is Jim Harbaugh's best game of his regime so far, if not one of them. And on Twitter, we heard a lot of hate. Well, this team would get trounced by Alabama. This team would get rolled by 4 touchdowns by Georgia, and that may be so. But before you make the arguments and rants and judgments towards schools like Michigan, Notre Dame, and schools like Duke, Northwestern, just remember on who they are. Let's look at Michigan. Their grad rate in 2018, the final number, was 93%, which was a high for that program. Notre Dame was 98% for their collegiate athletic programs, which is the highest in the nation. The average GPA for an incoming freshman at Notre Dame is 4.06. So boys and girls that are taking accelerated AP courses, to say the least.
Is that just the athletic department?
That's as a whole.
Oh, the whole school. Okay.
And at Michigan, 3.86. If your kid goes to Notre Dame or Michigan, keep in mind they'll come out with a pretty darn good salary on average. Their early career average and their salary is $67,000 at Notre Dame, and at Michigan, right under 63.5. criticize these schools as you might, and they're worthy of it if we're just judging by football. But keep in mind that on Monday, they're not going back to underwater basket weaving class. They're not taking Tai Chi. They're taking advanced economics. They're the leaders of our country, the future leaders of our nation. And if your son or daughter were to get a scholarship to a school like Northwestern, Duke, Notre Dame, or Michigan, it'd be one of the better days of your life.
Absolutely.
That's all I
now
got.
is it Northwestern or Northwestern?
Either one.
No, I'm just...
Dave,
Aren't you glad he's back?
aren't you producing? Get the hell out of here. That's how I say it. I'm from Edison, brother. All right? Little Appalachia. All right, let's talk about next week. We've got, of course, our wonderful review of Saucy Brew Works. We got a few more of those, so we're looking forward to them. On deck, we'll preview the following week's games in the NCAA and the NFL. Check out the wonderful lineup of Big Play shows along the Big Play family. On Monday nights, Blitz Football is at 8 p.m., the Big Play Cleveland show at 9 p.m., Tuesdays, Birdland BS at 7:30 p.m. with that Baltimore-New England game. They're going to have a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Wednesday nights, you know who we are. We're the Big Play Podcast. We're coming to you every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Thursday, Big Play Gaming, 8 to 10 with our guy, Mike McFadden, the guru, talking everything gaming, doing a little streaming too as well. Check out our partner, Saucy Brew Works, on Twitter at Saucy Brew Works, on Facebook at Saucy Brew Works CLE. Check out our show at the Big Play Podcast on Twitter. Hit that notification button too as well.
Yep.
So when we go live, you'll be notified. Follow at BigPlay_com. That is our master Twitter. You'll see our great articles that come out from our team of writers and all of our shows. Follow me. I'm at the Big Play J. For the gentleman over here, Stark County's finest, at Big Play Blake. Thank you for tuning in. We'll do a little extra after hours here if you guys want to stick around.
Oh my gosh!
Otherwise, happy rivalry week. Go Wildcats. Go Tigers.
TIG.
We'll see ya.
You know,
I like that song. That's a new one.
The intro and the outro, the hair flip by Mike, was
Phenomenal.
Isn't that
it's
awesome?
glorious.
Yeah.
He needs to grow that back out.
You need to get on that side note. Like, literally, you should be on those things.
On
You
the
notice
intro
you're
and the
not,
outro?
yeah.
That's all right. I'm not that important yet.
Oh, come on, Blake. I like
What
it.
is important?
We're gonna need Mohammed to make a new one.
Yeah, right. Mohammed. What's his rupee per hour rate, Dave? It's pretty high.
Love you, Mohammed.
he's a part of our, yeah.
That's right.
Kayla coming in, giving us a go
medium
time.
play
God,
Kayla.
your whole family just
Yeah,
came
man. It's a
in
family affair.
here. Good God. My parents
It's
got to
all right.
get with the times.
Nah. They're all excited. Everybody's amped up for this weekend, man. Big game coming up.
Big game. So give us a preview. This is obviously what you call probably the greatest high school football rivalry in America.
There's no
in my
doubt it
opinion.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they don't call it the War of 1894 for no reason. Games.
I love that.
No, it's literally the first year the rivalry started. 1894.
okay.
That's the first
I was
year.
going to say that's
first
not
year they played.
That's right there for the Battle of Schrute Farms. I don't know that one that well.
No, it's called the War of 1894 because that's the first year the two cities played against each other, not the high schools. But that's where the rivalry originated. And we could do a full hour and a half. I could do a full hour and a half show on this.
That's all right.
So I'll give you guys the clip. Yeah, I won't do that. I'll spare you the boring details.
No
but
offense to your family.
I'll give you the cliff notes. But no, that's kind of when the rivalry started. Is Canton and Massillon had two quote unquote professional football teams.
Yep.
That played against each other, and really it became more about the cities versus one another in terms of industry and commerce and things like that. And that's kind of where the genesis of the rivalry began. And then, obviously the pro teams left in the early 1900s.
Right.
I think the first high school game, God, they're going to kill me if I get this wrong. I want to say 1916 was the first high school game. So this weekend's game, 130th meeting.
Wow.
130th meeting of the game. So
At Tom Benson Stadium.
Tom Benson Stadium, so where they
great
play the
game
Hall
for
of
you
Fame game,
guys. Yeah.
because McKinley can't have their own stadium. Oh, trust me, when the USA Today article came out and it had them in there for one of the best high school stadiums in the country, I swiftly ran to Twitter and said, that's not a high school stadium. So, and they've never had their own stadium. They've always had the NFL stadium.
They
but,
have not, yeah.
But no, yeah, big weekend. They're 8-1. We're 9-0. I admittedly haven't been to many Massillon games the last couple of years. My brother-in-law plays at another school, so I go watch him on Friday nights. But yeah, man, it's a crazy thing. It's like Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
It's just they call it the game around here.
Right.
Literally,
So-
Northeast Ohio, they call it the game.
Yeah. So, and people outside of Ohio might not relate to this as much because high school football is just not maybe as intertwined into their culture as it is here. It's very Americana.
It's the birthplace of football.
We have
around
local shows. Friday Night Touchdown is a local show here that has our games. Back home, Jefferson County, Steubenville Sports Friday, on WTOV 9. I was on it once. Kind of did some co-hosting. It's a good precursor. Maybe I should have learned something.
There you go.
But it's you look at Ohio, Texas,
Florida, California.
Some of the southern states and California are still your hotbeds of high school football.
Yeah, I mean,
You happen to live in one.
I mean, this game's so widespread and known that it actually had a betting line in Vegas at one time. It was the only high school football game bet on in Vegas, had an actual line in the sports book every year.
Wow.
I think it stopped like 10, 15 years ago, like around the time I was in schools when it stopped, but yeah, it was the only only high school game to ever have a line on the sports book in Vegas.
Phenomenal.
It's sick, man. You got to get down there for a game. If you're a football junkie, and you just love the game of football and you're into that sort of thing, you got to get there at least once and do it when it's at Massillon. It's just, and I don't mean this in a negative light for Canton, but now the NFL is so involved with everything over there, the experience has been a little tainted.
Sure,
just because
sure.
you can't
It's
do
different.
you can't do a lot of the same things you could do when it was just kind of there.
Right.
They didn't really have a control over everything. So it's a much better high school football experience if you see it over at Massillon. Because, we have all the parkings right there and everything's kind of on top of one another. So it's a pretty special place, man. It's sick. And if you guys are looking for more information, there's actually a great article. It's 130 Reasons to Watch Meeting 130.
Wow.
By my buddy Chris Easterling down at the Massillon Independent. So if you're looking for more details, that's a good spot to get your Cliff Notes versions of the rivalry.
Shout out to Chris. Yeah, check out that game if you haven't. Another great one, the Holy War 2 as well. Played a little earlier in the year between Hoban and St. Vincent, St. Mary, of course. A lot of people know that as LeBron's old school.
Right.
Another great game. Pretty one-sided as of
There's
recent
a lot
with
of
Hoban.
great, and again, I'm biased because I was part of the Massillon-McKinley rivalry, but there's a lot of great rivalry games around here. You think of in Dable like this one, St. Ed's and Iggy.
Absolutely.
St. Ignatius up here in Cleveland. You have
the true Holy War.
Wow.
But you alluded,
Powerhouses.
You alluded to it, St. V and Hoban, and there's a lot of the same things over in Youngstown with some of those schools. So there's a lot of rich football history around here, not just ours. I'm biased. We have the best, but in a macro sense, I think there's a lot of that around here. It's not just unique to Massillon. It's really, like you said, all of Northeast Ohio, and really the whole state of Ohio.
Yeah.
Because there's some Cincy schools that even have that sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. St. X, St. Xavier.
Don't mention that school in front of me.
Coleraine has a.
That's
there's a
That's
big-
who we lost to in the state championship my
This
sophomore year.
guy.
They're like number 2 behind McKinley in my list
Yeah.
of hate, so it's fine.
The Dillon Panthers versus East Dillon Lions. There's
Yeah,
a good
man.
one. That was a great show, Friday Night Lights.
Absolutely.
One of my
Connie-
favorites
Connie
of all
Britton,
time.
thank you very much.
Wow, yeah. Who played the coach's wife in the movie and this TV series,
And the
which
TV
was
series.
phenomenal. Yeah. Do you want to hear a random story? I had a random week, a couple random things, and my wife's going to kill me, but I'm going to tell everyone about this, and I'm outing myself, but that's okay. Every year, the most majestic and mysterious item in the fast food world, do you know what it is, Blake?
The McRib.
It's the McRib.
Oh,
right?
I got it.
So the McRib during
wonder if
this
this
time
is-
of the year, go ahead.
This is going to be a very weird. If this is the same thing I got from my wife earlier, I'm going to laugh. But go on.
I bet it's not. But anyway,
I bet it is. Go ahead.
I'm going to go and tell you. So I go online as I do every year, and there's a website, McRib Finder. Well, this year, McDonald's finally put out an official McRib locator on their website, okay? So I look it up, closest one.
I'm pretty sure it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. My wife literally found, as I was walking out of the house to come to the studio, my wife's like, I'm so mad. I'm like, why? My pregnant wife, by the way. I'm so mad. Why? McRibs aren't anywhere around here.
No, they're not. But you know where they are? And Blake, I found this out. Bellevue, Ohio.
Bellevue, Ohio.
Do you know where that is?
That's where I used to go to Bellevue, Ohio all the time.
For what?
Family friends lived out there.
Wow.
Our eye doctor.
Wait, you used to go out there for an eye doctor?
Dr. Pfeiffer, what's up?
I couldn't see myself doing that, Dave.
No, he was just a family friend. He did it for free.
Okay. He just happened to be an eye doctor. Come out here. I'll look at your eyes. So every year I make a little pilgrimage, do a little like kayfabe trip to get a McRib. So Monday I was off work, drove out to Bellevue. It's an hour drive.
Yeah.
Side note, you go through the turnpike. It's a whole deal. Get out there. Breakfast starts at 10:30. I'm the first person in line for it. Get my bag, sandwiches, get a little fry just to munch on the way home. I'm like,
Wait. You got there at 10:30.
10:30. Lunch starts at 10:30 at McDonald's.
You said breakfast. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my bad.
I
Excuse me.
follow.
I was like, you're eating McRibs for
Not
breakfast.
excited. I still got that. It's still sticking with me. So anyway, I get the fries.
It could theoretically be the same thing they make the sausage out of, but go ahead.
Yeah, it could be. It kind of looks like mystery meat. So I get a little order of fries to eat as I drive home.
Sure.
But I got to leave. I got to go straight from there to home to meet my wife and kids as they come back from school. So I'm like kind of in a rush. I'm like, shit, I'd like to sit and enjoy this. Anyway, so I say I'll eat it when I get home. I get home, pull out the bag, smells delicious. I'm like, man, that's. And as soon as I got the bag, I'm like, oh, this is, smells good, looks good. There we go. Open up the first sandwich. It is the new chicken sandwich with the sauce on it.
Oh, no.
I mean, I still ate it. Don't get me wrong. Second sandwich.
Barbecue chicken?
It's a chicken sandwich, like a breast with the sauce on it.
Fake
it's
bone?
pretty darn good. No, it's like a breast. It's
No fake bone?
No fake bone. no.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways,
That's
I eat that.
unfortunate.
Second sandwich
Same thing.
was the McRib.
Oh, thank
but
God.
I start eating it as soon as I get the "we're on our way home" text. I'm like, shit. So I had to house it. I had like 2 minutes to eat it. So not the most
Third sandwich.
enjoyable. It was a lot of just Mick frustration, if you will, Dave. Not a lot of Mick
See,
enjoyment.
that's why I always check my bag before I pull out of a
Yeah.
fast food place every time.
It was a random
That's
week.
also a fat guy problem, but hey,
Yeah.
whatever.
And then yesterday we had a full building fire drill at work. And on the way back, I just stepped in a giant pile of dog poop, which I kind of think was human poop.
Was it dog poop? Yeah, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Say where you did say, depending on where you were at downtown, it could be both.
Yeah. So,
That was the "Do you have any change, guys?" poop.
right.
He
Guess
forgot-
the joke was on me
He
and my
remembered that.
shoe.
He remembered that time you didn't give him a quarter.
Yeah, no. So I've been putting up with shit all week, and it's
Literally,
it's not good. But anyways, so either way, I got to experience the McRib, and I don't regret a minute of it.
Now, is it like Great Lakes Christmas ale every year? Is it a little different each year? Or is it the exact same?
It's the same thing. Same artificial
Can't
meat.
believe it. Can't believe
it's
it.
a delicious Kaiser roll, lightly dusted, a little onion, little pickle. The barbecue sauce is phenomenal.
How much time do you think it takes for the people who work at McDonald's to take the bone out?
I'm gonna say not seconds, not milliseconds, maybe mixed seconds, Dave. It's not. It's a
Seconds.
fraction of a second. Yeah.
That-
Anyway, that's my
that's
McRib story
correct.
of the year.
But now, thanks to you, I'm going to be making a trip to Bellevue on Sunday. I guarantee.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
guarantee.
you got a pregnant
I,
wife.
I
She's
guarantee I
like-
get that elbow at 9:30. Hey, remember what Jay said about Bellevue?
That's right. That's right. Shout out. Yeah, you'll be eating pickles. What else? Kielbasa sandwiches. All
It's
that.
Ice cream.
It's been
Ice
it's been
cream, yeah.
kielbasa and tater tots.
She'll just be in the driver's seat. Whatever every other pregnant woman's stereotype. She'll be watching videos online, crying for no reason, watching wedding videos. That's what my wife did.
Really?
She'd watch
Nah,
like
I
wedding
can't see
videos.
my wife
and
doing that.
She'd just start tearing up. I'm like, what?
My wife started cleaning the inside glass of the oven
Wow.
during the nesting phase. You're getting there. You're not at the nesting phase yet, but you're getting very close.
It's a great face.
If it'll
And I'm not talking.
If it'll
I'm not
convince her to clean
talking
more,
the.
I'm down for it.
Well, I'm not talking the inside of the oven. I'm not talking the outside of the oven. I'm talking about the inside of the 2 pieces of glass of the oven.
Like, took the piece
I
out.
took the entire oven apart. The door to clean the glass
shit.
on the inside. There's 2
and I bet there
panes
was
of
like
glass.
one smudge that needed to
Oh,
go.
there's a little fog. Yeah.
Oh my God. That is a great phase,
So what do you have to do? Take the whole door off, basically?
God bless you. Yes.
Oh my God.
Anyways, that's all I got this week, guys. You got anything else?
I'm done. What's that World Series score looking
It
like?
is 1-0 Astros.
Oh, man.
Bottom of the 5th coming up. I
Nationals
think Bregman's still carrying his bat.
Nationals got to pull it out for me or I'm going to
They
look like
do.
an idiot.
Yeah.
'Cause remember, I said gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, you did. Hey, that's a
That's
great,
all right.
I
Win
like
some,
that
you lose
tradition.
some.
That's
It's
exact.
good lesson of adversity.
Well, if you've watched this show, you've won some and lost some too. So thanks for staying with us, guys, in the after hours here. Have a great weekend. We'll
Yes.
see ya.
See you guys.